Hello, Mr. Torrance. A little spooky in here, isn't it? I think my office got haunted while I was gone, by the way. My chair was in the lowest position. Unless Jen came into my office just to sit in my chair. If it wasn't Jen, it was a ghost. Womp, womp, womp. Did you take a bath with the lady? Oh, just you wait. I've got pictures. Alright, I'm still in a recovery mode. Got back from Colorado like 14 hours ago or something like that. So I thought I'd just do a little story time. Tell you about that. And then, yeah, I think tonight feels like a movie kind of night. But yeah, we were in, I keep saying Estes Park. I think it's Estes Park, Colorado. We were in the mountains of Colorado for a wedding. It was a good time. Colorado's beautiful. Airport is terrible. People talk about, I guess there's all this mythology about the airport being mysterious and having weird art and references to like apocalyptic or end of the world type stuff. But it is maybe the most disorganized major airport I've ever been in. It's the portal to hell. I did see the horse statue, Lucifer. There's a giant weird horse statue out front. And in our terminal, there were like these train tracks that just like end in a way that like implies a train will just crash off of them. So that like there is some weird stuff in there. But I think it is just also a terrible airport for flying. Also, I was expecting to land and be like, there's mountains here. But you land in one of like the flattest places I think I've ever seen. Anyway, that's my review of the Denver airport. So we get in the rental car and then it says, flash flood warning, please shelter in place. And I'm like, don't worry about it. And we start driving to the mountains and we had to pull over for a little bit. So that was fun. That was a good start to the trip. But yeah, driving up into the mountains was beautiful. The park is beautiful. We did a little walking, a little stuff. But yeah, when we first got invited to this wedding, one of the first things I thought of is the hotel that inspired The Shining is in this area. So we had to go. The first thing I should say is the disappointing thing is the film of The Shining was not filmed here. And when we started the tour, the first thing the person says is, hey, by the way, the movie wasn't filmed here. And they say sometimes when we open with that, people just leave. People book this tour and they just leave. She says sometimes people even start crying. But the thing is, if you're a big fan of The Shining, you know this is not the hotel it was filmed at. So I think those people are just babies. So maybe people are bringing babies to tours, and they just start crying because babies cry a lot. I bet the tour guides get that question all the time. Must be annoying. I think they get it out of the way. So the Stanley... Here, let me show you the Stanley Hotel. This is the Stanley Hotel. It is the Shining Hotel because Stephen King stayed here when he was a younger man at the very end of the hotel season. So like some rich guy built this hotel. He originally built it just as a place for him and his friends to hang out. And I guess Stephen King was on a getaway with his wife at the time. And they got caught in a snowstorm. And even though the hotel was closing, like they were at the end of their season, because they used to close for the winter because no one had put in the proper equipment to keep it warm through the winter. They let him stay there on like their last day of the season. So like him and his wife are just alone in this giant hotel pretty much. Is it haunted? I don't know. They do other tours about the hotel itself being haunted. We did a tour about connections with The Shining. But yeah, I guess Stephen King has some nightmares and finds the hotel just unsettling and creepy, especially being there at the end of the year when there's no one around. And that this was the spark of the idea that led to him writing The Shining. And as I think a lot of you know, Stephen King really didn't like Stanley Kubrick's version of the movie. Mostly because it really fundamentally changes the Jack character. Or doesn't really represent that character with any of like the nuance the book does. But Stephen King years later, I guess, bought back the rights to make a mini-series out of his book. Or he had the rights, I don't know. Anyway, there is a mini-series of The Shining, like a 3-part mini-series. I think you can watch it on Prime. That was filmed at the Stanley Hotel. Now, a lot of the tour we did, and here, let me just show you a picture so you're seeing something. Oh, wait, no, that's a wedding. This is us at a wedding. I wore a pink suit. Do you like it? Before we go to the Shining tour, can I rock a pink suit? Will I ever wear this suit again? So Christine looks very nice and tall here. Girls, no camera angles, I guess. All right. We look good. Keep saying it. Anyway, this is me sitting on the floor while our tour guide says things. So a lot of the tour was like when Stephen King came back to film the miniseries, so there could be a like film version of The Shining that he liked. He changed a bunch of things about the hotel. So like there's a bunch of plaster in the hotel that he painted to make look like wood. And then he made a few rooms, I guess, darker or added carpet. Anyway, like as she's saying, like, so Kubrick didn't use this hotel. I think he said, or had a production assistant go down there, and I guess they decided like it wasn't a scary looking hotel. So funnily enough, the Kubrick version of The Shining is filmed almost entirely on a soundstage in the UK. There are some exterior shots of a hotel in Kubrick's version of The Shining that were filmed at some lodge in like Oregon, I think, the Timberline Lodge. But there are even exterior shots later in the movie that are just on a huge soundstage. So, I guess so. Kubrick decided he didn't want to use the Stanley Hotel, even though it was the inspiration in some ways. So Stephen King says, well, I'm going to do it years later at the Stanley Hotel. And then he changes a bunch of stuff at the Stanley Hotel. Is the music too much? I'll turn it down. Dum-dum. So, like, I think Kubrick was right. Right? It's the principle? Come on. It's funny, if you ever watch the Stephen King miniseries too, like if you read the book, you'll know like there's these like topiary, like hedge animals that factor into the story, like are part of the horror. That's not in the Kubrick version. But in the miniseries, like it's like the 90s CGI versions of hedge animals attacking them. It's pretty bad, pretty rough. Anyway, so this is me on the tour. Most of the tour, or the end of the tour, is that they have like a little cabin on the property that they've basically turned into a bit of a tribute to The Shining. So they have that framed photo from the end of the movie. You know, the "We've always been here," Mr. Torrance. They have one of the axes from the Kubrick film. Very cool. There's the axe. Here's me with the axe. Here's Christine taking that photo of me with the axe. And the coolest part was probably they recreated the bathroom of room 237, where Danny gets hurt and Jack has an affair with a ghost woman and, you know, truly loses his mind. So this is me trying to get Christine to recreate the photo in the bathtub. Thank you, Shrimply, for humoring me, because I don't think she knew what I was talking about. I'm like, just go in the bathtub and slowly pull back the drape. And I wanted to get in on the fun too. So I did the same thing, but on the toilet. The tour guide said I could do this as long as I actually didn't take a poop. I think their exact words were, "Don't take a spooky dookie." It's funny, our tour guide, she was a very sweet lady. But like she's clearly like some She's clearly like has a theater kid kind of background. Like she was very happy to kind of get theatrical and add some flair to it. I guess you kind of have to be a little into performing to be a tour guide, eh? Or you got to be a little something anyway. And she knew about The Shining. Like I was clearly the person there who knew the most, having like seen the movie and the book and just being generally interested. So I did ask her a few questions that I might have been annoying, that I don't think she knew what I was talking about. Like, what do you think about the theory that The Shining is about the Kubrick faking the moon landing? She's like, yeah, I've heard that before. She's just like, please stop talking. No, I think she had a good time with our group. She told me after it was a fun tour when people... She said she likes when people talk to her and don't just blankly stare. Do you think she's lying to me for a tip? What do you think? If you were a tour guide, would you want your group to actually like be engaging with you? Probably, right? If you're not just like, you know, if you actually are somewhat interested in what you're doing, I think you would have some interaction. This actually came up because in Kubrick's movie, it's famously room 237 is where the bad things start happening. And in Kubrick's novel, it's room 217. So there is a room 217 at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, and it's their most requested room. And in the famous Kubrick adaptation, it's a different room number. And there's different theories about why this is. I think the most reasonable one is that I think it's at the Timberline Lodge. They didn't have a room 217. So, fuck, I'm mixing this up. I guess one of the hotels didn't have that room number, and so they wanted it to be a room that did or didn't exist. I'm fuzzy on that. But the more fun theory is that it is a reference to Stanley Kubrick faking the moon landing, because the moon is approximately 237,000 miles away from Earth. And yeah, if you ever watch, there is a documentary called Room 237 that I've seen at least one person mention. Hello. That mostly is full of people with crazy ideas about The Shining. That are just looking for meaning where it probably doesn't exist. But there are a couple really interesting ideas in there. Like, I think a very compelling theory is that there's a lot of references to the genocide of American Indians in The Shining, in Kubrick's The Shining, that I think most people do not notice at all. But you could argue there's a bit of a narrative that the hotel being representing like the colonization of indigenous peoples contributes to like what makes it an evil place, I think is the implication. And the moon landing stuff is also mostly funny, but it is strange that there's some random references to NASA and like spaceship imagery in the film. The Minotaur yeah, there's some really kooky stuff in there too, though. There's a guy who's convinced that you can see Stanley Kubrick's face like in the clouds in the opening credits, and there's some fun, wacky stuff going on in there. It's a trip. Room 237 is so wackadoo, but fun to watch. Wackadoo is a good word. It's the word of the day. So anyway, I didn't take a spooky dookie, but this is probably the scariest, spookiest bathroom I've ever pretended to poop in. I love the Stanley for its location, Estes Park, more than for the book, movie, show, to be honest, though I was first drawn to it because of the movie. Yeah, I will say, this was a really beautiful area. We weren't there very long. This was a quick trip. Basically spent as much time traveling as we were at any destination. But yeah, the hotel seems cool. What else? We went to Meow Wolf on our way out of town, just for a quick in and out. Yeah. Are a few of you from Colorado, or no, you just know what I'm talking about? Gorgeous to hike. The elevation was... I never felt like I noticed that we were at 5,000 feet or whatever it is. But I did notice that, I was just like more thirsty and maybe a little tired all the time. I'm not sure if we were there long enough to acclimate. Colorado gang, there's a couple of you. There's at least a couple of you. I'd like to go back sometime, although I don't really want to see that airport anytime soon. It's a pretty popular visit for skiing or going to the Rockies in the States. Did you get the Minion? I did not get the Swarovski Minion, although I do see that someone may have done a Labubu opening while I was gone. I was hoping you would all forget about Labubus so I wouldn't have to think about what this is. And hey, if stuffed animals fill a hole in your heart, I'm happy for you. It seems like one of the most obvious manufactured Beanie Baby Tamagotchi type trying to make these products like a status symbol of collecting them as some very temporary fad kind of thing. Julian just did a Labubu unboxing, and Julian's great. He's like the sweetest. So there must be there must be something okay about Labubus. I do not get it at all. No souvenirs from the trip. I got a shirt. I got this shirt. Amazing Spider Moose. Swings into action. Estes Park. Let's go. No Labubus, just Spider Moose. But yeah, ultimately, tour was, I'm glad I did it. A little underwhelming. Not really scary at all. But just sort of fun. Just fun to kind of be at a place connected to a movie that I like a lot and is very interesting. What's the connection of Spider-Man to Estes Park? I don't think there is one. Just when we first got there, we just walked around town. You're like, oh, we should just check out the strip, little shops, get some tea. And the first place we walk into is like clearly the tourist trap. That's just like for people buying stupid t-shirts about where they're visiting. So I did that. I saw The Little Mermaid as a kid and said that was how I was gonna live. Under the sea? Under the sea? Where it's so much better? Down where it's wetter? Oh, it's because she's a hoarder. There's a great TLC show for you called Hoarders. Have you been on that show? You love a good tourist trap star? It's fun. It's funny. It's fun. Is there a difference between collecting things and hoarding things at a certain point? Answer is no. All right. Shining Tour, pretty fun. Colorado, pretty cool. What else can I say about Colorado? I don't know. It was just very beautiful. Reminded me kind of being in Banff, I guess. Although I really want to go back to Banff and Lake Louise in the summer. We had a very fun time there for Christmas with Rob and Corinne back in the day. Man, what was that, like 6 years ago? Fun time. Have y'all skied or snowboarded in Colorado? I don't think I've skied since we went to Banff. You remember the vlog? Yeah, good times. Collectibles bring joy and you're proud to show them off. Just the Labubu thing seems so manufactured to me. And just like more about like consumption. More about consumerism than actually being into stuff, right? I guess you could say that about any hobby because it does require some level of investment, right? But when something becomes popular really quickly, like I need to buy this Beanie Baby, I don't know. That strikes me as strange. When are you starting your Swarovski minion collection? I don't know, I just want one. Labubus are just a trend to get you clicks. So if I just had a stream called Labubus, maybe a few random people would click on it. A few children would somehow end up on my stream. It's because gambling is fun? Are drag queens into Labubus? I don't even know what that means. What's an actual spooky experience you've had? Okay, ghost story. The house I mostly grew up in Ottawa, was a creepy old house. Or it just wasn't old. I think it was built in the 1910s or 20s. And I remember one neighbor told me at one point that when I was young, I don't know why they told me this. I think they were trying to scare me, now that I think about it. I guess at one point someone had been living in our house. Parents with just a daughter. And that the parents would often be home late and the daughter would just be there alone. And there was sort of like a shed attachment at the back of the house where what the guy told me is that the girl would just like play under the stairs. And that's like, if it was just some like nice staircase with like a little cozy space there, like you'd get it. But like, this is like a very unfinished kind of dank, like it's not a night. It's like saying like this little girl just sort of hid in a basement. And just, we didn't have laundry. The laundry and the washer and dryer were in the basement. And I kind of, it always sort of stuck with me that any time, especially at night, if I'd go down those stairs into the basement, which was like a horror movie type basement, that I always had like this creepy feeling passing over that last set of stairs that there's something under it, you know what I mean? Now that's just like fun in your head stuff, but that I remember distinctly thinking that like for as long as I lived there. And I think I told the story about me and my brother both had a very similar experience where we thought I lived with my brother for a while, and it was just me and him in this house. And one time, I hear him upstairs walking around and whistling. And like, it's just late in the morning. I've just woken up because I'm in university. And we kind of like, I lived on the ground floor and he lived on the second floor. The bedrooms were kind of split that way. And I go to the landing to look upstairs to go like ask him if he wants to go get lunch or whatever I wanted to ask him. And as I'm walking towards that landing, the front door is there with like, it's a glass front door you can see through, and I see him like walking towards the house, even though I've just been hearing him or someone upstairs whistling for the last like 10-15 minutes. And he told me like, or we spoke about this maybe even on a podcast at one point, but he told me he had like almost the exact same experience. Not of me like happening to walk in at the same time, but like hearing someone whistling in the house and then going to like talk to me, and I'm just wasn't home. So that's kind of fun. We just had a musical ghost Just like whistling. Ooh. Anyway, I don't really believe in stuff like that, but it's fun. Or I think like everyone like believes in it at least like a tiny little bit. Or else like things like this wouldn't scare us, you know? I bet it was a bald ghost. That's when you turn it into a haunted tour place. You should just start doing tours of my old house. And then the people who live there now are like, wow, hello? Turns out the ghost was Ben. The ghost was probably a neighbor who liked whistling, and like the insulation of the house was bad, so it sounded like it was upstairs. You know what I mean? It was me from the future. What is this, Interstellar? Don't let him go, Murph. No! Don't let him go. I don't not believe in ghosts just in case they are real. Oh, okay, you're hedging your bets a little bit. Seance stream coming soon. I think I believe in ghosts less than like most people, I think. Because occasionally like we'll joke around, or like Christine and I will like, she made my favorite, here's something funny. My favorite Simply Not Logical video is her Ouija board video. I love that video. She made 2 videos about Ouija boards, like right around the same time. And I think it represented a point in her life where she was like an incredibly talented nail artist. And she did these Ouija nails that look amazing. But then she also made a hilarious video playing with a Ouija board. I think that is peak Simply Not Logical. When was that? 2017? Kind of want to look that up. You can watch it on your own time. But if I ever ask you, now you know my answer. Simply Not Logical Ouija board. 7 years ago. But anyway, I bring that up to say that like we think it's funny to like just play with a Ouija board or whatever. And even like people I know in real life get a little like, are you sure you want to invite that energy into your home? I'm like, it was a toy made by Hasbro or something. Like a Ouija board isn't even a isn't really an actual thing, right? Just like my favorite's the one where you call your dentist before chewing gum. No, I hate that. Kind of expected him to end stream. I thought about it. That's what the oh man, we should watch Jumanji. We should watch the original Jumanji. Yeah, we need to pick a movie tonight. We should start a poll. All right. We talked about The Shining a lot, but I just don't think Shining's the vibe right now. There is another movie, a scary movie I would consider watching. What movie do you want to watch? The OG, or no, what's first? Yeah, Jumanji, and we're talking about the original Jumanji. Yeah, the new ones don't exist to me. They're dead to me. We could watch the Shining miniseries. No, we don't. It's like 3 hours long. What else could we watch? Oh, I've been meaning to watch a movie called Beau is Afraid. He's the same guy who made Hereditary and Midsommar. It's a very polarizing film, but I want to watch this before he has a new one coming out next month. Midsommar, fun connection. I guess today is Midsommar, right? Technically. Ari Aster, yes. Whoa, that's so crazy. What's so crazy? Whoa, were you watching Beau is Afraid right now? It's the first day of summer. Midsummer was a hilarious film, Tendo. You just got here. You probably got better places to be. All hail our flower queen. Someone suggest another movie. I want to save before... what is it before? What was it before sunrise, before sunset, before midnight? What's the order? Florence Pugh Pugh? Oh, you know what's another good movie? I can't remember the name. Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. Is that what it's called? Someone look this up for me. Midsummer would be perfect for tonight. It would be, but I feel like we watched that not too long ago. I mean, these are two pretty good options. Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. Or not. Let's just say these two. Which of these two movies? What's with all the background noises? It's the Shining soundtrack. My vote is for Beau is Afraid. But I think either are fun. If I don't like the result, I might just decide. I saw 20... Oh! I feel like 28 Days Later should be on this list before watching the new one. Okay, wait. End poll. We're gonna add a third option. What movie? Jumanji or 28 Days Later? Jumanji or Beau is Afraid? I don't think any of these are very long. "28 Days Later" is pretty heavy. Jumanji would be more fun. But yeah, I do want to see the new one. I have high hopes. I'm going to watch both 28 movies before I go see the new one. I thought the new ones are ignoring that 28 months later happened. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's a thing. I watched 28 Days Later last weekend, still a great movie. I think the last time I watched it, I was surprised or found it funny how poor the image looks just because we're so used to HD. And that movie was filmed in non-high definition, which it just sounds like kind of unthinkable these days. Yes, they ignore 28 weeks, thankfully. Okay, you know that. I think they've talked about it in the press. Right, people are saying 28 Days Later. Kind of a soft spot for Jumanji, though. Which one's longer? Or shorter? Original Jumanji is an hour and 40 minutes, 1995. Robin Williams. Is it on streaming? It's on Crave and Prime with a subscription in Canada. Yeah, are both on streaming and easily available? I'd be up for either. Seems like people don't care about both. I need Americans. Some of you Americans need to confirm this. I saw it for free on YouTube. Jumanji? Okay, so it could be either. 28 Days is on Tubi for free in the US too. What is Bo afraid of? I think his mother. Jumanji is also on... Okay, yeah, Jumanji's on Crave. Ooh. Nothing for 28 days? No, that can't be true. Someone just said it's free on Tubi. I think it's on Crave in Canada. Or it's on something in Canada. Oh, Tubi's tricky because of the ads. Okay. I'll set up a post for 7:30 too soon? Maybe for 8. Actually, now I kind of want to watch 28 Days Later. Alright, before I go, I'll post it in Discord if someone wants to link the Discord. So 8 p.m. I think 28 Days Later. How long is that? How long is 28 days? 28 days later. It's not too long, right? Hour 50. Alright, what's my favorite Symphony Illogical video?